Hi guys, it's hot in here. We just that's my boys are here. You got Rio 16, Geo 15. Giovanni's the footballer. Rio is the businessman. So, but actually saying that, Rio's very good at football as well. So, hi Deborah. So, I still want to do a part 2 of earlier's live stream, which was all about Elvis Presley's dating history. But I'm not going to do that now because this morning, hi Stacey, we're back. I'm a bit sweaty because the dryer broke. You know, the spin dryer that dries the clothes. So I ended up taking that apart. I managed to fix it. It was the reset button needed pressing, but to press the reset button, we had to take the whole spin dryer apart. And my 17-year-old daughter was going mad because she couldn't dry her clothes. And then my wife's been cooking spaghetti and chili con carne, and I've been helping a bit, so I'm hot. So my wife's just gone out to get her nails done, and the two small kids are in the other room. They're in the lounge. So fingers crossed, the small kids are not going to climb on me like I'm a tree. Because that's what they do. They climb on me like I'm a tree. Anyway, as promised, I did say I was going to try and talk about the song That's All Right Mama, because it's a 70-year anniversary today of the making of that song. That's All Right Mama. That's All Right Mama. That one. And somebody messaged me. I can't remember who it was. And they want to know more about Minnie May and Aunt Delta. So let's do it. Let's try it. So let's find out, guys. Anyone new to the channel? My name's Louis. Welcome. Our channel, we're one big family. We're here to defend Elvis, stick up for Elvis. We're searching for the truth. So all of the things that are being said about Elvis for the last 50 odd years that are not true, we are going to get to the truth and defend Elvis. We are united in defense of Elvis. And this is a movement that we've all started together, and together we are doing this. It is our channel. Right. And by the way, all the lovely comments you guys sending me, all of my members and all of you subscribers, you're sending me a lot of nice comments. I feel very flattered because I'm literally getting about 10 an hour, which is mind-blowing to me. Bearing in mind, 3 weeks ago, I didn't know any of you. So for me, it's amazing. So yesterday I did try and quickly find some information about let's have a look about the song, the story behind That's All Right Mama and Aunt May. And I did learn a lot, and Minnie May. And we know that Aunt May, going from memory, lived in Graceland. Now, Aunt Delta lived in Graceland till 1993. Minnie May, maybe 1985, but we're going to find out now, aren't we? So let's have a look, guys. Okay. So I'm just going to start reading it off, guys. See how we go. So the story behind the revisiting Elvis's first single, That's All Right. So we call it That's All Right, Mama. Oh, it is, Deborah. Yeah, thanks for joining in, Deborah. Thanks for all your comments. I really appreciate it. And Stacey, you've both been giving me great comments today. Thank you. And it's great to have you on. Anyone that is not made themselves known that is watching now, please just say hello, guys. I want to meet you. I want you to subscribe. I want you to join in. Let me know what country you're in and what your name is. We're all friends here and you're very welcome. So on July the 5th, 1954, so 70 years ago today, Elvis Presley was stuck. He was in Sun Studios. I mean, they say Sun Studios, but I hear it was called Memphis Studios. Is that true, guys? Who knows? The same place where he had cut his first official acetate record nearly a year before. But he had no record contract, no fan base, and no success in his music business. By his side were two musicians he had never met before, guitarist Scotty Moore and bassist Bill Black. Now, do any of you know the first song that Elvis, this is a competition, do any of you know the first acetate that Elvis had cut, I think for his mum, what it was called. Come on, guys. I think a year before. I know because I've read it. Right, okay. Yeah, okay, Yasmin, can you please keep him quiet? Right, Tino, you promised me you were going to let me do this. Tino promised me. Yeah, okay, do you want me to get it for you now? Yeah. Right, I'm going to get him a bit of spaghetti. It's all cooked, so I'll be quick. My happiness, Stacey. Stacey, you know. Right, you are going to have to do it. Will you do me a favour? Really, it'll help me out. Just do them a very small portion of spaghetti. It's all there ready. Just put it on a little plate. Right, Rio's going to sort you out. Thanks, Rio. I owe you one. And then you have to, but don't eat it in the lounge though, Tino, because Mum won't want spaghetti on our new sofa. We got a new sofa. We can't be getting spaghetti on the sofa. Right. So let's have a look. So nearly a year before, he had no record contract, no fan base, no success in the music business, and by his side were two musicians, Scotty Moore, bassist Bill Black. The three had been working all day to try and cut something that sounded good to no avail. If he didn't hit on something soon, the teenage Presley might have lost one of the only breaks that they had come his way. Okay. So, yes, My Happiness. Are you going to sing it to me, guys? Okay. I actually have heard that. I have actually. Rio's going to get you both dinner, but you do have to both please just let me do this live. It won't be long. What do you reckon, guys? Do you think I'm going to be able to do this live? What do you think? I'm not convinced, but I'm going to try. If I start shouting, you know why. After moving to Memphis as a teenager, Presley knew that he wanted to be a singer. The only problem was that he didn't know exactly what kind of singer he wanted to be. Upon his first arrival at Sun's studio, Presley annoyed the receptionist by refusing to categorize his singing style. He took influences from gospel, blues, jazz, country, and bluegrass. Yes?
Can you write
Spider.
Can you write
right. Say hello to everyone. What's
block.
Block. Right, are you gonna say hello to everyone? Block. Hang on. This is Tino, he's 4. Block, yeah? Look, there you go. Yeah. Oh, come on, because I'm trying to do this live. Go on. Because I want to do this. Stacey said hello. I'm trying, guys. Right, we've got to talk quietly. Oh, everyone's got to talk quietly. Rio's done your spaghetti. Right, so here we are. Let's have a look. Right, so and bluegrass. He also had a ferocious energy and the ability to command a room. What he didn't have was a song that could properly translate all of these abilities. So, okay. So Sam Phillips is looking for a song that has blues, gospel, jazz, country, and bluegrass in it. All these influences. Okay. A full day of recording passed without satisfying final product. So Presley started simply to bash out any song he could, remembering on his acoustic guitar. Talk quietly, please. Talk quietly. Yasmin, talk quietly, please. Right. Blues tunes, country song came and went without making a dent. So when the group took a break, Presley began playing a wild version of That's All Right Mama by Delta blues musician Arthur Crudup. Okay. So That's All Right Mama was written by Arthur Crudup. Is that correct? Deborah says hi, Tino and Yasmin. You can give them a wave. Right. So was soon joined in the impromptu jam by Moore and Black, who added lifting licks and driving rhythms to Presley's jokey cover. Now, I heard, is this true, guys, that Elvis and Bill Black had fallen out over something? Is this true? I didn't know this. I read that there was bad blood, but I'd never heard that before. Anyway, all of a sudden, Elvis just started singing the songs, jumping out and acting the fool. And then Bill Black picked up the bass and he started acting the fool too. And I started playing with them. Moore would later record that Sam, I think, had the door to control the booth open. He stuck his head. He stuck. Right, talk quiet, please. Yasmin, keep him quiet. All right, I'll get you a drink. Do you want some water? So he stuck his head out and said, "What are you doing?" And we said, "We don't know. We'll back up." He said, "Try to find a place to start and do it again." Okay, let me just get him some water. Right, you want some water, yeah? Right. Remember, you'll do me a favour and you're going to make sure that he talks quietly, yeah? I'm not going to take long on this. Right, okay. There you go, mate. Is that yummy? Do you want some more water, Yaz?
No.
I'll make some anyway, just in case. Okay, go. We're good to go, man. Okay, right. So we're back, slap, bass providing, and Moore's simply country licks backing him up. Presley got the perfect opportunity to wail. Although the recording didn't feature Presley singing in his signature baritone drawl, it quickly became clear that his version of That's All Right Mama was the sound that Presley and Phillips had been searching for. The rest is history, guys. This wasn't an electrifying mix of country and blues taken fast and dangerous. When Presley said he didn't sound like anybody at the time, he was right. He was one of the first white people to sing rock and roll. And in theory, guys, the birth of rock and roll, yeah? Now, obviously, the birth of rock and roll, the first white person to be singing it, because we know that the non-whites were singing the rock and roll and the blues and the jazz and all that well before, don't we? But Elvis was the first one to do it. The white guy on. So I'm just on a live at the moment. Yeah, just help yourself. It's all there. So we've got a full house. That's my 17-year-old daughter, Talia. Do you know? Shh. They've timed it. I haven't really timed it well, have I, guys? All of the family are eating. My wife's gone out doing her nails. Anyway, so come on, massive moment, guys, massive. And it's why we're all here, isn't it? We are all here because of that moment. Presley wasn't the first rock and roll singer, nor was he even the first white rock and roll singer. Just a few months prior, Bill Haley, right, we all know Bill Haley, and Bill Haley visited the UK, didn't he? Released his version of Rock Around the Clock, which still treated rock and roll as a dance fad, much in the same way that Bill and Joe turned Shake, Rattle and Roll did Little Richard and Chuck Berry had already released records that blues into new high energy territory. But what Presley was doing was completely unique and at the forefront of a new cultural movement. Yes, wasn't Deborah? Wasn't it called Memphis Studios? I'm not sure at when did it change its name to Sun? This is what I want to know. So I have. There's actually there is actually a picture. Right. Hello. Yasmin, can you Tyler? Can you just try and keep them talking quiet, please? So I've actually found the picture on Google of the Memphis Studios before it was Sun Studios. Yeah, it means you've got to talk quiet, right? The story where rock and roll actually starts begins before Elvis was even old enough to enter a bar. A pioneer like sister Rosetta Tharpe and Fats Domino and Bo Diddley were all making souped-up blues music that sounded completely different from the pure blues of the Howling Wolf and Muddy Waters. Presley was simply an avatar of these influences. The man with the sound that looks and the acceptable race to be embraced by the general public and propelled into mainstream. Phillips wasn't shy about his intentions. He wanted a white singer who could play black music. Presley was the man. A few days after the impromptu recording of That's All Right Mama, Presley and Moore and Black returned to Sun Studio to cut a transformed version of Bill Monroe's bluegrass classic, Blue Moon of Kentucky. Blue Moon of Kentucky. We know that one. With more of that, and that was the B-side, yes? Blue Moon of Kentucky, with more of an emphasis on rhythm, and Presley showed that he could cull from both blues and country in own music. Both songs would quickly be compiled onto a single and released 1 week later. All right, Deborah, you're doing it as well. Deborah, it's funny you say that because I've been doing it today. The timeline, Deborah. Timeline. This timeline of Elvis's relationships, Priscilla's relationships, and when they were unfaithful. We're going to do a separate video for that. Okay. That's All Right began to gain traction around Memphis and soon migrated down south to the Louisiana Hayride, a country music radio program that was open to plain blues and R&B. And the house drummer at the Hayride was DJ Fontana. Well, we know who that is. And we're going to do a live stream on DJ Fontana, who provided Presley with his first backup percussion. The pieces of Presley's initial rock and roll takeover were starting to land in place. Tino, you know what I'm trying to do this? Right, so let's have a look. Presley's initial rock and roll takeover was starting to land in place. Soon, Presley would move beyond Sun Studios, its signature sound. That's All Right, Mama never strayed far from the Presley's life as he continued to refine and redefine rock music over the next 23 years. And there are lots of Elvis videos showing him doing different versions of That's All Right in the 70s. Didn't he sing it in the 68 comeback special? And even on his tours, Elvis basically sang That's All Right till the end. I'm trying to keep it all straight. I wish I had written this down while living in Graceland in neighborhood. Yeah. At the moment, it's a rough copy. And I'll tell you what I've done, guys. Right, Yasmin, do you think, Talia, do you think you can take it with you so I can finish this? Talia, I'll give you a reward. Right, so just while you've just mentioned that, all I've done, I've started from 1953 and I've broke down each year. So 54, 55, 56, I've written each relationship. I'm still completing it, but like for example, 1953 was Dixie, and then you've got 1956, June Junico, 57, Anita Wood. Now, question mark, Priscilla, 59, but I don't think Elvis started seeing Priscilla properly until 63. But, okay, then we've got people like Connie Stevens, Anne Helm, Anne Margaret, Barbara Lee, Sybil Shepherd, Peggy Lipton, Linda Thompson, Shelley Ryan, Mindy Miller, Ginger Old, yeah. And then with Priscilla, I've got another list of all the different people that. So she's obviously got the guy. We're trying to see where Priscilla may have crossed the line. Hello, beautiful. Say hello. Yeah, you can have. Tanya will give it you. So, you said hello to everyone. She's gone, but. So, obviously, I'm trying to do a timeline. Let's just see if all right, of the different people that Priscilla was seeing. Now, there's one that keeps being mentioned to me, but I've only seen it once. That Priscilla may have been involved with, and that is Frankie Lyman. Now, is this true, guys? Frankie Lyman, is this true that Priscilla in the early 60s may have had a fling with him? I'd really like to know if it's true. But then obviously jumping forward, we know about Steve Peck in 68, and then we know about Mike Stone in 71 and onwards. So we're trying to get a feel. So we're trying to see where it all crosses over. So, and then obviously I'm also looking to see where Elvis crossed over with his relationships. For example, we know that he was good friends with Anita Wood. He was seeing Anita Wood quite a few years, but that crosses over to when he met Priscilla, and then he carries on seeing Anita Wood when he moves back to America after the army. And then they break it off because he couldn't make his mind up. So there's a crossover there. But then even with like when Priscilla moved to America, there's a crossover there with Anne Margaret and Priscilla. Yeah. So we're trying to find the crossovers. So I think from 71 onwards, it didn't really matter who Elvis was seeing, did it? Because really the marriage was over, wasn't it? Because she was unfaithful with Steve Peck in 68, really. So I only count the Elvis when he was being naughty there was a naughty patch from 63 to 66 where he was a bit naughty with Priscilla, but she may have been naughty as well. Then I think 67, 68, I think Elvis was good until March of 68, when he found out that Priscilla was having an affair and had an affair 2 months after the baby was born. I think that he didn't care then, and that's when he started singing Susan Henning, yeah? So I think Elvis classed himself as single after Susan Henning, and he on the filming set of Love a Little, Live a Little, and on the 68 comeback, and they lasted about 18 months, but it wasn't very serious. And really, after that, I think anything Elvis did didn't matter because I don't think he was with Priscilla then. So their marriage really was very short, very short. So this is what we're all trying to suss out, aren't we, guys? So just quickly read your comments. I never heard anything about Frankie Lymon. I tried to find something about it, but I couldn't. Yes, Stacey, we need more evidence. I've had a couple of people tell me we need more evidence. I'm very interested to be fair to Priscilla, because I want to be fair, because I don't hate Priscilla. What may have happened between 63 and 66 on Priscilla's side? Maybe nothing. Maybe she was just a poor girl at home waiting for Elvis that was in love with Elvis and just felt badly treated. Or there's more to it. But I personally think Elvis in 67. So they got engaged in December 66 at Christmas. I think Elvis stayed faithful through the pregnancy. And I think Elvis was good even when she had the baby. I think Elvis was good. And then I think Elvis fully intended to be loyal and faithful. But I think as soon as he found out about Steve Peck, the dance instructor, the guy who owned the dance studio, he found out she's been unfaithful a few months after poor Lisa Marie is born. I think then Elvis went on to be a bit naughty because I think he was heartbroken and shocked and maybe even a bit of revenge. Why not? It shook his world, didn't it? When he found so soon after the baby was born, Lisa Marie. And then maybe Elvis could have been a bit naughty after that point. But I think by then he was so embarrassed and upset that it had happened. I don't think things were ever the same again. I think once Priscilla had been unfaithful after the baby was born, I think the relationship was broken. I think Elvis classed himself as single. I think he felt that the marriage was over. And really everything else that happened after that, from Elvis's point of view, didn't really count. But I also think that Priscilla seeing Mike Stone for a year in 71 behind Elvis's back, I think, and then he obviously found out by 72, that says it all about Priscilla's character. I think it says a lot. You know, you have an affair just after you've had a baby, a year after a wedding, and then within a couple of years, she's seeing the karate guy, Mike Stone, yeah? To me, that speaks volumes. Come on, by 72, it's all over. And Elvis knows it's all over. Then we've got the horrible divorce settlement. And then eventually there's a second divorce settlement. Come on, it's all a mess after that, isn't it? Do you agree, guys? So wasn't there two women claiming to be Frankie's wife when he died? I don't know anything about him. I'll be honest with you. I'd have to look that up. Anyway, let's see if we can quickly look up Minnie May and Aunt Delta. Just quickly. Do any of you know anything about Aunt Delta? She's Vernon's sister, is that correct? And Minnie May is Vernon's dad. Mum, is that correct? Please tell me. I have got a link. Let's have a look, because I was going to do this the other day. Right, this one is called. Let's have a look.
No, there are no photos of Elvis and his aunt together. I believe this is the young generosity.
So I found this.
Numbers, she was witness to the goings on
Let
of
me just.
Graceland before and after Elvis's death. This video will likely include facts. And
Actually, no, I better not play this, but I'll tell you about it. There's a girl. Let's see if it says her name. She's got a post. Oh no, it's not on there. No, it's okay. We're gonna have to skip that. We'll go to the next one. Right, remember you're talking quietly. Right, let's have a look. So we've got. It says here, who was the last person to live at Elvis Presley's Graceland? Let's see if there's a write-up. Let's see if we can scroll to it. Right, here we go. Right, let's just read this. Right, Talia, make them talk quietly, please. Right, right. So let's just go back to Minnie May. So we've got Elvis died at 42 on August the 16th. And Vernon Presley remained in the mansion until his death 2 years later on June the 26th in 1979. And he was 63. Also remaining at Graceland was Minnie May Presley, Vernon's mother. Right, we've got that clear. Minnie May Presley was Vernon's mother, who died May the 8th, 1980, at 90 years old. So Minnie May was 90 years old. May the 8th. That's interesting. And it's Vernon's mother. Right, okay. So then we've got that left one remaining resident, Elvis's Aunt Delta, which is May Presley Biggs. Delta May Presley Biggs. Okay. We know that Elvis called Minnie May Dodger, didn't he? Because she would dodge things. So let's have a look. So Delta May Presley, Vernon's sister, Aunt Delta, so it's definitely Vernon's sister, was the only Presley family member living in the house when Graceland opened for tours in 1982. So basically, you could tour Graceland in 1982, and Aunt Delta was still there, but she kept herself to herself. This is what I heard. Didn't she stay in the kitchen room? She mostly stayed in the bedroom near the kitchen. There we are, right, the bedroom near the kitchen, which was off limits to tourists. And at that time, this is why the classic Southern cooking restaurant at the guest house at Graceland, the hotel near the mansion, is called Delta's Kitchen. Do you get that, guys? So I'll say that again. This is why the classic Southern cooking restaurant at the guest house at Graceland, the hotel near the mansion, is called Delta's Kitchen. That's interesting. Right. So a mostly unnoticed presence, Aunt Delta remained at the mansion until her death on July the 29th, 1993. So let's get these dates clear, guys. So Aunt Delta, Vernon's sister, Minnie May's daughter, died on the 29th. But remember, we're talking about on the 29th of July, 1993. So at the age of 74. So she was 74. She was the last resident of Graceland, where she had lived since the death of her husband in 1966. So Aunt Delta's husband died in 1966. And I do you know what? I found an old YouTube video. I think it was either Minnie May's husband or it was Aunt Delta's husband. I think it was Aunt Delta's husband. Didn't he think he was a bit of a singer? You tell me, guys. He was a Presley. What's his name? Jesse. Was his name Jesse? Jesse Presley. Please tell me, guys. According to the story in the commercial appeal, she was a private person who did not mix with the visitors who toured the mansion. She did not have any children but was accompanied in her later years by her dog Edmund, who was a Pomeranian. A Pomeranian. I don't know what a Pomeranian is. Okay. Right, so that's that. Let me just... Right. Kids, you want to go in the lounge now so I can... They don't care. They're not interested. I hope you can hear me, guys. Ah, right. That's interesting, Deborah. Very interesting. Now, I got some other links on it as well. Right, here we go.
Oh my God.
Right, Tina, you are going to talk quietly because otherwise they won't hear me. Otherwise, I'm going to make you sing to them.
No. Sing Barbara Blackson.
No, he's got to sing Elvis. Tina, if you're going to sing, it's going to be Elvis. Right, let's so let's click on this link. I've got 2 links. Let's read them both. So Elvis Presley was known for his generosity and invited Aunt Delta to live at Graceland until long after his death and tours begun. Vernon Presley's sister would be responsible for Lisa Marie, who would drive her crazy as a child. And I listened to, Billy Smith's son has spoken about this. Right, Yasmin, you do have to make him talk quietly, please. Right. Right, when Elvis Presley shot to fame in 1956, he became wealthier and wealthier and began hiring members of his family to work for him and as security team, an entourage known as the Memphis Mafia. A year later, the king bought Graceland. Right, we know about this. Right, we want to know about Aunt Delta and Minnie May. So a year, right, okay. The king bought Graceland and gave his extended family free range of the house except for his private upstairs area. And when Elvis's Aunt Delta's, the sister of Vernon Presley, was widowed in 1966, Elvis generously invited her to come and live in Graceland. That's amazing. That is amazing. Yeah, I think you're right, Patricia. That's right. Who was the person that asked me to do the video on Aunt Delta and Minnie May? Was it Deborah? Someone asked me. I can't remember who it was. Or was it Stacey? Could it be Stacey? And anyone watching, guys, please subscribe because 78% of you do not subscribe. It really helps the channel. Oh, it was Patricia. Thank you. And I'm really glad you asked this because I've learned a lot about them. I was researching it yesterday for a few hours. So, guys, please subscribe. Please hit the notification bell. Please join. Become a member. It's only 99 cents a month. And it's not about the money. It just makes me feel good. It makes me feel good. Or buy me a coffee, anything. Anything that shows me that you like what I'm doing. But number one, please subscribe. Please subscribe. Right. And a few of my members are on here tonight. Obviously, Patricia and Stacey. Hi, guys. Thank you so much for being members. Right. So let's keep going. So let's have a look. Let's see what else it's going to tell us. Something interesting. Okay. Let's find out a bit more about me. Right, so here we are. Aunt Delta's sister of his father Vernon, was a widow in 1966. Right, Elvis invites her. After all, Aunt Delta's mother, Minnie May Dodger, was already living at Graceland, having taken over the bedroom of Gladys, Elvis's mother, who had died in 1958. All right, so a bit of information there. Minnie May lived in Gladys's bedroom. She took it over in 1958. Oh, it's fun, guys. It's fun. As long as the kids aren't bothering you in the background, which does concern me. Once she moved in, one of her responsibilities was making sure that the king's daughter, Lisa Marie, had her bath and dinner each night. So what I've learned from watching Billy Smith and his son, that the kids were very naughty. So is it Dee's kids? The 3 kids that Dee had and Lisa Marie were very naughty. I know, it's Stacey, we love it. We're all learning together. We love it. We love it. I'm learning more than you guys. You guys know more than me. Right. However, The star's little girl did not like being told what to do, admitting years later that she was a terror. So Lisa Marie is admitting that she terrorized Aunt Delta. You can imagine. And that Aunt Delta just did her best. So according to Lisa Marie's childhood friend and cousin Danny Smith, the Memphis Mafia kids would run amok around Gravestone. You can imagine it, can't you guys? And we know that Lisa Marie was naughty. Speaking on his YouTube channel, Danny said, Aunt Delta had her way. She was a good person. She took good care of Lisa, and she took good care of us. So they respected her, didn't they, guys? You've got to realize that we gave the woman hell. We gave Aunt Delta hell. We pulled stuff on her and we hid from her. So basically, they wound her up. Yeah, I read that, Patricia. Dodger was a sweetie. Right, Deborah, they were quite different. Dodger was a sweetie and loved Elvis and the grandkids. Yes, definite. So looking back, that had to be a tough job because we were constantly doing something to bless her heart. She did her best to be as sweet to us as she could. Oh, that's nice. It's nice that years later they can look back and remember Aunt Delta and Dodger and remember them from in a nice way. That really that they just did their best. Right, so let's have a look. So in 1977, Elvis died suddenly of a heart attack at the age of 42, whilst his father Vernon followed in 79. Yeah. So tragically, having outlived both her sons and grandson, Minnie May passed away in 1980. Poor old Minnie May. Then 2 years later, Graceland was opened to the public, the tours, and Aunt Delta was allowed to continue living inside the mansion. Right, we know this bit. While the public was looking around, she had to use the kitchen and the bedroom next to it. That's not on the usual tour today. Okay. But then when the tours were over for the day, the guides would signal to her that she could come out and use the rest of Graceland downstairs in the evening. I didn't know that. I'll say that again. But when the tours were over for the day, the guides would signal to her that she could come out and use the rest of Graceland downstairs in the evening. Could you imagine that? So you have the tours, and then it closes, and then Aunt Delta comes downstairs and starts doing the cooking. Now, I heard, guys, you tell me if it's true, that Priscilla didn't want them there. Priscilla didn't want Aunt Delta there. Is this true? I heard that Priscilla tried to get Aunt Delta out, and she wasn't happy. Is this true, guys? It's just something I read. Right, Patricia. So archivist Angie Machis remembers she would often leave stuff on the dining room table. So you would come in one day and the placements would be blue. She would change the placements on the table. The next day they could be red. You didn't know what color the dining table was going to be decorated. That's just so cute. So Aunt Delta would come down and change the mats on the dining table. I think that's so cute. Yeah, they respected Aunt Delta very much. So them kids pulled stuff on her all the time. Yeah. Hilarious, guys. Hilarious. Really cute. Okay, I think that's it. And we got one more, I think. Let's have a look. Let's see if it works, guys. It's probably going to say a very similar story, but right, let's have a look here. So this is, we got a nice picture. So Minnie May, Dodger with Vernon and Elvis. I know you've all seen it, guys. Cute. And actually in that picture, Vernon and Elvis actually look alike, don't they? Look. I know it's a bit blurry, but they're just getting on with breakfast. That looks like scones to me. Scones. Right. We'll just read a bit of it, see how we get on, yeah? So Minnie Mae Presley was Elvis Presley's paternal grandmother, who he affectionately called Dodger. Yes, Patricia, I think I've seen that. Right. Elvis was born in Tupelo, Mississippi, in Lee County. His family tree traces both east and west of all the American city. Her parents came from the 2 counties that surround Lee County. His mother's family is from Pontotoc County, which is to the west of Lee County, and his father's family is from Itawamba County, which is to the east. Right, okay. It's a bit of a mouthful for me, but maybe you guys that are in America know where these areas are. Elvis was born in Mississippi, Tupelo, in Lee County. His family tree traces both east and west of all American city. His parents came from the 2 counties that surround Lee County. His mother's family is from Pontotoc, right, okay, which is to the west of Lee County, and his father's family is from Atawamba County, which is to the east. Right, have I just said that right? Right, the hood, right, that's it, you're right. The hood, I'll give you some more medicine in a minute. The Hoods came to Atawamba County from Alabama in the 1830s. And do you want some medicine?
Yeah.
All right, I'll just give Tina some medicine. So this is getting interesting, guys. Right, you're being quiet. You like this? You're doing good, guys. Both of you are being very good. Right, medicine for Tino. Tino's got a cough. Are you ready? Are you ready? Go. Woo! Are you ready?
Just this much.
Yep, I'll put a bit more. Ooh, this is yummy. Would you like it? No, I can't give you any more. It's bad for you. You're only allowed to have so much, but kids are being really quiet. I love it. I've nearly finished. Remember, guys, you've been invited into my home. My kitchen, my kids, my world. I've just given medicine to my 4-year-old. Yes, she sure did. She loved it. Right, so let's keep going. The Hoods came to Itawamba County from Alabama in the 1830s. One Hood family member, Joshua, built a log cabin there. It's believed that Minnie Mae Hood was born there on June the 17th, 1890. To Mary Louise and William H. Buck Hood. So a portion of that log cabin still stands there, and many Hood relatives still live there. Interesting. Right, I don't want to go too far back in time because this is going right back. So this is the guy I was talking about. This is who I was talking to you about, this guy, Jesse D. McDowell Presley. Jesse D. McDowell Presley was married to Minnie Mae, yeah? And I watched a very old black and white video that I think was done in the 50s, in around 55, of Jesse being interviewed saying that he was a singer, that he could sing. If any of you seen that, it's on YouTube. On July the 20th, 1930, the couple welcomed their first child, Vernon. So does that mean Vernon was born 1913? Does that sound right to you guys? On July the 20th. The couple welcomed their first child, Vernon. No, that's wrong. That's wrong. Let me say that again. So they were married on July 20th, 1913. The couple welcomed their first child, Vernon, on April the 10th, 1916. So Vernon was born April the 10th, 1916. The couple went on to have 4 more children: Vesta, Delta May, Gladys Erin Dowling, and Rev Nashville Lorene Pritchard. Okay, now isn't this right? Okay, so she had 4 kids. Right, so Minnie Mae and Jesse marriage slowly declined, and the couple unofficially separated. She moved in with her son Vernon, his wife Gladys, and the son Elvis. She moved with them, and they moved from Tupelo to Memphis. And Minnie Mae and her husband officially divorced in 1954. And I've read that Elvis didn't like Jesse. Elvis did not like Jesse. Wasn't he a bit abusive? So they were in northwest Alabama, a little town called Jasper, and they went to the areas around Tupelo. Right, okay, thanks, Stacey. And Rhonda Davis. Hi, Rhonda. I read that Aunt Delta would threaten to tell Elvis, then Lisa would listen better, because Lisa would never argue with Elvis. Is that true? Rhonda from Wisconsin. I don't know, Rhonda, but we're learning. Welcome to our little chat. And guys, there's 26 of you watching. Please subscribe. Really important, so that we can all get on the live stream together. So, yes, right. Okay. Okay. So, from what I see, Minnie Mae Dodger was very unhappy with Jesse, and they divorced, and that is why she moved to Graceland. No, she didn't move to Graceland. That is why she moved to Memphis. Right. So obviously this is before Elvis had become super famous and rich. So, okay, so we're getting a bit of a timeline. Then Minnie Mae lived with Elvis and his parents at all of their homes in Memphis. So we know that Elvis had a few homes before he moved into Gracelands, obviously, because he wasn't famous at the time. And then she eventually moved to Graceland. She even traveled to Germany with Elvis. Yeah, I've seen the pictures that she went to Germany with Elvis while he was stationed there. Elvis always was a family man and loved having his relatives so close, and others called her grandma. But Elvis's nickname was Dodger. No matter what life threw at her way, she always came through it to the end. And I heard that the reason that Elvis wanted Minnie Mae there was because of her southern home cooking. Elvis wanted his cooking done by Minnie Mae. Is this true, guys? So Minnie Mae died on May the 8th, 1980 in Memphis. She is buried at the Meditation Garden at Graceland near her son Vernon's daughter-in-law Gladys and her grandson Elvis. So she's buried there with everyone. All right. So there's an old newspaper clip here, guys. I'm going to read it. Deborah is hot in Missouri. Is it hot in Missouri? I bet it really is. I think Elvis just wanted his family there, yeah? 115, it's bad heat. Whoa, guys. It's not in England. It's not hot at all. It's a bit humid, but it's not cold. It's just not hot. It's sort of sticky. I'm 2 hours to Memphis. So it takes you 2 hours to get to Memphis, Deborah. So anyway, let me just read this old newspaper clip. It says, Minnie Mae Presley, the grandmother of Elvis Presley, died on Thursday at Graceland Mansion. A family spokesman said Mrs. Presley was 90. She was the widow of Jesse Presley, who died in 1976. Okay, so we now know. Drink some water, Tina. It'll make you feel better. We now know that Jesse Presley died in 1976. She was one of the three principal heir names in the late rock and roll singer's will. Presley, who died on August the 16th, 1977, left the bulk of his estate to his daughter, Lisa Marie. We know that. His father, Vernon, and his grandmother, Vernon Presley, died in June 1979. Upon the terms of Elvis Presley's will, upon the death of Minnie Mae Presley and Vernon Presley, a single trust was created for Lisa Marie, which would be turned over to her at the age of 25. Miss Presley survived by a son, Vesta, 3 sisters, and 7 grandchildren. That's a newspaper clipping, guys, yeah? Right. Okay. I think is that all of that? Right, that is. Let me just see what's happening. So there's a little clip here talking about Gladys and Vernon. So I think we'll just read a bit of that and then we'll call it a day. We'll try and bring it up to an hour, yeah? Hot, salty water. Thanks, Nadia. I gave him, Nadia, welcome to the live. I gave him 2 spoons of carpol, and I find if you wait about 20 minutes, his coughing calms down. Yeah, he isn't too bad, actually. He's been okay. Right, let's have a look. So we're going to read a bit about Vernon and Gladys, okay? Right. Vernon was... right, let me just try and read this. Vernon was 17 when he married Gladys Love. 4 years. So he was 4 years. So Gladys Love Smith was 4 years older than Vernon. I didn't know that. I thought it was a couple of years. I didn't realize it was 4 years. Right, okay. In 1933, like his relatives before him, Vernon worked at any odd job that came along, and for a while he and Vesta, his older brother, farmed together, raising cotton, soybeans, corn, and a few hogs. Later, he took a job with the WAPA federal government work program, and during the Depression, next he drove a delivery truck for McCarthy's at Tupelo Wholesale Grocer, delivering grocery items to stores throughout Northeast Mississippi. Let's have a look. Right, so the Presley's genes passed along from generation to generation, some of which undoubtedly were inherited by the infant born in the two-room house in the hills of East Tupelo. Gladys' sister, Colette, married Vesta, Vernon's older brother. Thus, the two brothers married two sisters. Few know it, but in the beginning, their roles were reversed. Vesta started out dating Gladys. I didn't know that. Vesta dated Gladys, guys. Did you know that? That's something new. Vernon, 18 months younger, originally dated Colette. Yes. So they dated each other's partners in the beginning. Wow. Did you know that, guys? I dated Gladys a few times, and Vernon dated Colette a few times. Gladys didn't like my attitude much, as I have always told you. I was too wild in those days, so Gladys quit seeing me, and we quit seeing the Smith girls for a while. Okay, so they dated for a bit, and then they stopped dating. Then Vernon started dating Gladys, and soon there was only one object of his affection, Gladys. So basically, Vernon fell heavily for Gladys. Right. So on June the 17th, 1933, Gladys Smith and Vernon Presley eloped and were married in the county of Pontotoc, where Vernon was not known, both lying about their ages. Vernon gave his age as 22. Gladys gave her age as 19. While Gladys was of legal age, Vernon was not at the age of 17. Gladys would hide her real age for much of her life in her book. Elvis and Gladys, Elaine Dundee says, impetuosity and impulsiveness played a large part in Gladys's makeup. She knew nothing of half measures, nor was there anything half-hearted or self-protective about her. Elvis would inherit from Gladys his unpredictable impulses. Interesting. Right, let me just scroll this up. Wow, that's all Deborah. Horrible family. Right, I heard that. Right, Elvis, Lisa loved each other very much. This is Teresa. I didn't die. None of the would have happened to Lisa. Everything went out of the window for Lisa. Lisa needed a father so very much. She sure did, Teresa. It's not even cooling off much at night. Thank God for the air conditioning. My God, it is hot over there, isn't it, Stacey? It's all right, Stacey. You can come and stay here. It's nice and cool here, but you've got to look after the kids. Right, where are we? So about the end of June 1934, Gladys knew she was pregnant. Sometime around her 5th month, she was sure she was having twins. She was unusually large and could feel the two babies kicking, and the family history of the twins, both sides of the family. Gladys was earning $2 a day, the Tupelo Garment Company, while Vernon worked at various odd jobs, including one on the dairy farm, Orville S. Bean, with $180 that he borrowed from Bean. After Gladys became pregnant in the spring of 1934, Vernon set about constructing a family home, and he and Gladys moved there in December. Now, I've heard that, wasn't it Vesta helped him build it? I know that he took out the loan from his boss. So this is the shotgun home so they were neighbors, weren't they? I'm pretty sure Vesta and Vernon were neighbors on Old Sotillo Road. Yeah, is that right, guys? Stacey, you probably will. You probably will. Elvis's birthplace was built by his father Vernon, and with the help of Vernon's brother Vesta. Yeah, I thought that. So Vesta did help him build it. And Father Jesse, whose relatively spacious 4-bedroom house sat next door, located above the highway that transported locals between Tupelo and Birmingham, Alabama, and nestled among a small group of rough-hewn homes along the old Sotillo Road. The house had no electricity. It was connected, but it was not used due to the cost and indoor plumbing, and there was some similar to housing constructed in the mill villages around that time. So about the end of 1934, Gladys knew she was pregnant. I believe that too. I think Elvis was a much better dad than a lot of people give him. He was an amazing dad. He was an amazing. Come on, if Lisa worshipped him, that's it. We know, guys, that Elvis would just sit in her room all the time, even if she wasn't there. Even after the divorce, Elvis spent all his time in Lisa Marie's room. He loved being in her room. Stacey, I totally agree. She never got over it. She never got over it, ever. And I think as she got older and she started learning more about the way that Priscilla treated Elvis, and the way that Priscilla had been unfaithful, especially after Lisa was born, I think there was a serious problem between Priscilla and Lisa. And I think when the financial stuff started coming out, that Priscilla had basically tried to rip off her own daughter, I think it got worse. In my opinion, not a fact, just my opinion. Elvis was a great dad to Lisa, and he totally loved her and would give her the world. Didn't like it at all. Yes, he was. Teresa, I agree. It's so obvious. He was so proud of her. She was everything to him. Everything. Right. But, Elvis's body let him down, guys. He got so unwell. And we could spend an hour talking about how unwell Elvis became in his late 30s and early 40s. He was so unwell. His body was giving up. And Elvis didn't like it because he lost control. So he's taking all this medication to try and soothe himself and ease his pain and energize him for the tours, the Vegas tours. And he had so many different tablets for so many different reasons. So the lungs and the liver and the heart and the high blood pressure and the glaucoma and the twisted colon and what was the word? There's quite a few other things he had, guys. Hypertension, is it? And it just so many things Elvis was trying to medicate, and he just got iller and iller and more side effects with the medication. And Elvis was fighting a losing battle against his own body. That's the truth of it. If you really look into it, all the different illnesses he had, and his body had turned against him. That's the truth. So anyway, so Gladys finds out she's pregnant. Sometime around the 5th month, she was sure that she was having twins. She was unusually large. She could feel 2 babies kicking and had a family history of twins. See, I didn't know that. So she had a family history of twins. It's the first time I've heard that. On both sides of the family. Now that is important. Gladys had a family history of twins on both sides of the family. Now that's why it was a twin. Right. So January the 8th, we know that, come on, we all know that date, 1935, not long before dawn, Elvis Aaron Presley was born. Gladys delivered a second son earlier that morning, a stillborn identical twin named Jesse Garon, and Elvis would be their only child. So Jesse, rest in peace, Jesse. Right. After the birth of Gladys was close to death. All right, so Gladys was close to death after the birth. I didn't know that. And both her and Elvis were taken to Tupelo Hospital. And after Gladys and Elvis returned home, it was noticed by the family member and friends that she was overprotective of her newborn son, paranoid that something bad would happen to him. I'm not surprised. Gladys's mother, Dole Smith, died in 1935. See, I didn't know that. So Gladys's mother was called Dole, and she died in 1935. I've never read that before. She died in 1935. And actually, her name was Doll. I didn't even know that. Let's have a look. Yeah, that's right, Stacey. Too much pressure. Though life for Elvis was being sickly child, his parents especially being so poor, not having much to eat. Yes, Elvis. That's right, Nadia. Elvis was unwell. He had stomach problems as a child. What makes me mad about Priscilla is to pull the plug on Lisa for no reason. Didn't she wait? Do you know what? That whole story with the pulling the plug, I need to learn much more about it. I need to do a lot more research. I really want to know the details and the timeline of that. I'm gonna. I know there's information on there from Spotlight Spy, that YouTube channel I told you about, Spotlight Spy. It does give you a breakdown of the events of that day, to do with the heart attacks and to do with the phone calls and the life support machine. But I really want to spend some decent time and look into that properly so we can do a proper live stream on that thing, Teresa. Yeah, I agree. Should have not pulled the plug, Deborah. Everyone is saying it to me. A lot of people are messaging me thinking that Priscilla was the person who made the decision to turn off the life support machine. But we need evidence. We need to know the truth. We need to know what actually happened. I don't know if we'll ever learn the truth. Well, we're going to try, Patricia. I need to give it some time. I need a whole day on that. And I'm gonna. I've tried already. I'm gonna keep trying. Yeah. There's a few other Elvis websites that I've seen, YouTube channels that have been talking about it. So, right, let's have a look. Right, so where are we? Gladys' mother, Doll Smith, died in 1935 and was buried next to her husband, Bob Smith. Okay, so Gladys's father was called Bob Smith. See, I'm still learning this, guys. Gladys's father was called Bob Smith. And there was an unmarked grave. Gladys lost her mother at a young age. Gladys was 23. Elvis was 22. All right, they're matching the ages. Right, okay. Elvis's family life was turbulent during the early years, largely due to poverty and financial circumstances of his parents, Vernon and Gladys. However, Elvis grew up within a close-knit and working-class family consisting of his parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, and who all live near one or another in Tupelo. There was a little money, but Vernon and Gladys did their best to provide for their son, who is the center of their lives. Deborah, I know what you're saying. There's a lot of people think what you're saying, but we definitely need to get our minds on it. We can all do the research together, guys. We can all look for the truth together so that we can defend Lisa Marie. That's what we want here. Is we want to know the truth so we can defend Lisa Marie. Right. So let's. However, if you look, let's have a look. Right, let's go a bit further down. On November the 16th, 1937, Vernon, along with Gladys' brother Travis Smith and the friend Leather Gable, were indicted for check forgery. Right, this is the big story we know about, the check forgery where Vernon actually went to prison. So Gladys' brother Travis Smith and friend Leather Gable were indicted for forgery. A check that Orville Bean had made out to Vernon had been altered, and the culprit stood accused by Orville Bean. Vernon had sold Bean a hog and received a check for $4, the sum of which less than he expected. So he obviously wasn't happy with $4. Vernon was furious as the hog was worth a lot more and he had been counting on that money. There is no record of how the deal was arranged or how much. Vernon talked it over with Travis and Leather, and an idea emerged. Since Vernon had been sold short, why not make the check closer to the amount deserved? The courthouse records do not include details of how large the sum of money the check was altered to, but in her book, Elvis and Gladys, Elaine Dundee says that based on the memories of the people she talked with, it was either $14 or $40. So they altered the check to either $14 or $40. According to Vernon's old friends, Aaron Kennedy, he thinks the check was not altered but forged by putting a blank check over Orville Bean's and tracing his writing on it. In any case, obviously, none of the men had any idea how banks operate. To prevent such fraud, so great pressure was put on Orville Bean by the community of East Tupelo to show leniency towards the offenders to no avail. A bond of bail was fixed at $500 each. On January the 4th, 1938, only 2 bonds were filed for Travis and Leather Gable. Oddly, the records show Vernon's father, J.D. Presley, and J.G. Brown stood sureties for Travis Smith, but not for Vernon. At least there is no record of such. Also, it appears that Vernon spent 6 months in custody awaiting trial, and then J.D. had apparently never liked Vernon, and he had kicked him out of his home at the age of 16. And I did hear that. I've heard about that. It was Elaine Dundee that uncovered this evidence, but it is not possible to know the truth. Right, okay. So they were actually sentenced for 3 years. No, I think I've read this somewhere. So Gladys is unable to maintain the repayments of schedule on the home, causing the family to lose the house, and she and Elvis are forced to move in with relatives, guys. So when he went to prison, they lost their home. They lost the old Satilla home house, and they were forced to live with relatives. So then that's just crazy. So in the book, Last Train to Memphis, Peter Gwalnick states that during the brief time Vernon was in prison, Gladys lost the house and moved in briefly with her in-laws next door. So sad, isn't it? So imagine that, guys. Dad's in prison. They've lost their house. So they've got to move in next door with their in-laws. So does that mean, was their in-laws was Vesta? I'm sure it was Vesta. Elaine Dundee is critically acclaimed book, Elvis Gladys, states that these are hard times for the mother and son, and understandably, in view of Jesse Presley's attitude towards his son, Gladys had grown more and more uncomfortable living next door to her father-in-law, and at some point during Vernon's prison sentence, Gladys moved out and stayed with her first cousin, Frank Richard. Whatever the reason, the Presleys never returned to the house Vernon built, and stories differ on the reason on how the house left their ownership. So guys, we all think, some of us think that while they lived in Mississippi Tupelo, that they were in the old Satilla Roadhouse, but actually they weren't there very long. Because he went to prison, they had to move out. So
that's why I changed it.
So on February the 6th, 1939, Vernon was released from prison on February the 6th, 1939, from prison with 6 months suspended of their sentence. Talk quietly, please, Yasmin. Condition and good behavior. This leniency is a right. Okay, so this is where he gets moved, where he's allowed out of prison. So Vernon was released from prison with 6 months suspension of their sentence and granted on condition of continued good behavior. This leniency is the result of a petition of the citizens of Lee County and on a letter from Mr. O.S. Bean, the party of whom the checks were forged, the document signed by the Governor Hugh White. So basically, Vernon gets out of prison because the guy who it was his, because of him that they went to prison, because they forged his check, that same guy got them out of prison. So the guy must have felt guilty. So he got them out of prison. Okay, guys, I'm going to have to go. I'm going to have some dinner and sort the kids out. But I just found that really interesting. I need to sort out Tino because he's coughing quite a lot. I want to give him some attention, give him a cuddle, sort out Yasmin. So I'm going to have to say goodbye to all of you. It's been very interesting, guys. It's been very interesting. I've learned a hell of a lot tonight, a hell of a lot. I'm going to watch this video back because there's so many different facts about Minnie May, about Aunt Delta, and about Vernon. We've covered how Vernon and Gladys met and their age difference. We've covered the pregnancy. We've covered the check fraud, the prison sentence, the house moves from Old Satilla Road, where they had to live next door with their in-laws. Really interesting. Really interesting.
Can I buy this?
Yeah.
Can I buy this?
I really enjoyed it. I want to watch it back because I've said a lot and I want to absorb what I read. So thanks, guys. I'm just going to scroll through. Thanks, Stacey, Patricia, Mary, Nadia, and James. If you're watching, congratulations, James. James has done brilliant. He's one of the subscribers. He messaged me to say that he's lost 8 pounds, which is amazing. Sticking to that diet that I'm on, the same diet that I'm on. There's a few of you doing it now, and I'm really glad it's helping you. Thank you. So there's 22 subscribers. Please subscribe. 78% of you do not subscribe. Please subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you're notified when we go live. And obviously, you know I want you to join, guys. It's only $1 a month, but it means everything to me. And if you want to buy me a coffee, buy me a coffee. That's lovely. But ultimately, we are one big family. You're welcome into my world. I'm sorry about the noise. And I love talking with you guys. Please give me comments and teach me. All of you guys are teaching me so we can teach each other, so we can stand up for Elvis. We are united to defend Elvis. We're searching for the truth. And this is now a movement. This is now our movement as a family. And we're loving it. And I never knew hardly any of you 3 weeks ago. And I feel like you're all my friends. So I really appreciate it. Thanks to everyone. And I love your messages. So never worry about messaging me. And I will always try and reply. So I'm going to give you a wave, guys. Carry on chatting. Carry on chatting. And I'll read your comments, okay? Yes, defend and unite. Are they? I'll tell my son, Giovanni. I think England were lucky on that last game, Nadia. Bye, Nadia. Bye, Soldier Heroes. Hi from California. Hi. Viry Caves. Hi from Moreno Valley, California. Please subscribe so we know who you are. Welcome to our channel. This is a new name. It's the first time I've seen that. Viry Caves. Viry Caves. Hiya. Sorry you caught us late, but don't be shy, guys. Say hello. Bye. See you. Is it Gio? See you, mate. And I'll be back on tomorrow morning, UK time, around 8 a.m. All the best. You're welcome. You're welcome. Bye, Annie. Sorry, I gotta go. I gotta sort out the kids. Okay, Patricia. That's all good. Take care, everyone. I'll give you a wave.